podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Two-Footed Extra Pod. This is our quick hit show where I'll unpack the latest news and gossip, plus rumours in the world of football. This show was brought to you by our friends over at Liberty Shield. Did you know that Liberty Shield's VPN service not only keeps your data safe, but can also help you bypass government blocks on IPTV streaming? When connected to Liberty Shield, your internet activity is encrypted, meaning your ISP can't see or block those crucial live football streams when you sit down to watch. It genuinely is the ultimate solution for staying connected and never missing a match. Right now, you can save 25% by using the code EPL25OFF. That's EPL25OFF at checkout. All caps, no spaces. Oh, and one more thing. For more in-depth analysis on the biggest talking points from around the world of football, don't miss my main show, the Two-Footed Podcast, with new episodes dropping every single weekday. And if you want more from EPL Index, don't forget our Tad Predictable preview show or the Final Whistle review show recorded immediately after the big Sunday match. Now, let's crack on. What's good, boys and girls? Two-Footed Podcast Extra on Monday, the 14th of October. What have we got? Over the weekend, Lee Carsley made it clear he does not want the England job and says that the England job, the England manager needs to be a top-level manager with a lot of experience, removing himself from the process. I'm hopeful that maybe he decides he wants the Ireland job, because I think Lee Carsley is a very good manager at the international level. I know it hasn't gone great with the senior team, but I look at his work with the 21s, I think he's done phenomenally well up through the age brackets. So, yeah, if he wants the Ireland job, I think hopefully that can be arranged. As for who it will be, I mean, Thomas Tuchel seems to be the early frontrunner, we'll see. There's a good profile on the BBC of Hugo Viana, the soon-to-be sporting director of Manchester City, pending 115 charges, and who he is and where he came from. Newcastle fans will know. FIFPro, the top European leagues and player union, have filed a legal complaint against FIFA over what they claim is an abuse of dominance. So we've heard a lot from players in recent weeks complaining about how many games they're having to play and so on and so forth. And there's been a couple of high-profile injuries to players that spoke out. Rodri, Alisson, and now FIFPro have decided to file this complaint, and we will see where it goes. We'll see what happens. It could be interesting. It could be quite scandalous. We'll see what comes out. But, I mean, as I've said before, it's not like players now play more than they used to. Yes, they play at a faster speed. They also play on far better pitches with far better equipment. They're far better trained. Their nutrition is far better. They're resting more during the week and so on and so forth. We will see what takes place with this complaint. Sad news. Liam Manning, the Bristol City manager, is being forced to take a period of absence following the death of his baby son, Theo. Everyone at Bristol City is deeply saddened by the passing of Liam's recently born son, Theo John Manning. We know that Bristol City supporters and the wider footballing family will share their condolences and deepest sympathy with Liam, his wife Fran, and son Isaac during this difficult period. We ask that the privacy of Liam and his family is respected during this time's horrible, horrible news, and you wouldn't wish that on anybody. So our thoughts can only be with Mr. Manning and his family. There is uncertainty over whether Northern Ireland's Nations League match at home to Belarus will take place at Windsor Park in November. A decision has yet to be taken whether Belarus players and staff will be granted visas to play the match by the UK government. Belarus was included in the UK's sanctions against Russia as the country has allowed its territory to be used by the Russian army to launch attacks into northern Ukraine. Now, if you're up to date on your politics, you will be aware that Belarus is home to what can only be described as a dictator. Alexander Lukashenko, who has been the president of Belarus since Belarus gained its independence from the Soviet Union. Since 1994, he is the longest-serving head of state in Europe. Of course, he did supposedly lose an election in 2020 and decided he wasn't going to leave power. Very similar to basically what Donald Trump tried to do, except he was more successful with his coup. Yeah. So he is a puppet for a certain Vladimir Putin and allows people to basically, or allows the Russian president, prime minister, noisy president, dictator, either way, to basically run roughshod over his own country and use it as an extension of his own land. And it's been a launch pad for the Russians on their illegal war in Ukraine. So, you know, I don't think the UK government should allow the Belarusians to enter their airspace, whatever. I just don't. I really don't. Now, I will also point out that Belfast is on the island of Ireland and County Antrim should belong to Ireland, but it's neither here nor there. I don't feel like Belarus should be allowed to play these games. And again, it's harsh on the players, but that's just how I feel. Anyway, moving on. FIFA are to review their transfer system after the Lozana Diarra ruling. If you didn't read up on that, Diarra, when he was leaving Anzi, went to play in Russia, or to another Russian team, fell out with the manager. The contract kind of got cancelled. Then they sued him for breach of contract. He was banned from playing for 18 months. FIFA tried to force him to pay back a whole bunch of money, and the whole thing was a farce right in the prime of his career and had a huge negative effect on him. So now they're going to have to look into these things because it's been ruled to be basically illegal what they did. There's a piece on Wales and why they're struggling to see out games, a piece on Scotland and why they're struggling. Troy Parrott is back, Quegan Kelleher after Carsley Athens mistake. It wasn't a Carsley mistake. Ireland were losing anyway. He made a mistake for the second goal in the 2-0 win. Troy Parrott, with respect, look at your own performance. You were dreadful. Dreadful. Right, we'll come back after the break with the gossip. Right, welcome back. We'll do 2 days worth of gossip. Manchester United will listen to cut price offers for Harry Maguire in January. We've been hearing this for 2 years. Erling Haaland has decided his future is away from Manchester City, but will not be joining PSG. If I'm not mistaken, El Nacional is basically a Barcelona fanzine, and that's what they're hinting at. Man City are looking at Diogo Costa from Porto as a long-term replacement for Ederson. I think he's dreadful. William Saliba has been identified as a target by Real, but is not thought to be looking for a move away from Arsenal. That's how it starts. Real and Barcelona are interested in Benfica left-back Alvaro Fernandez-Carreras, who United let go for $6 million, but I do believe they have a buyback on him. Liverpool apparently also in the race. Chelsea, Tottenham and Liverpool have sent scouts to watch Jamie Gittins. Talented player. We'll see. Kobbie Mainoo remains in discussions over a new deal with United, but no agreement has been reached. Why is this taking so long? Like, how much is he asking for? What's he asking for that they can't just get this done? Porto and Spain striker Samu Amora says God was the reason behind his failed transfer from Atletico Madrid to Chelsea. We still don't know why that fell through, but he says it was God. Everton, Fulham and Leeds are interested in Steaua Bucharest's 28-year-old Cameroonian centre-back Joachim Dawa, who has a release clause of 4 million. Bayern Munich are not interested in Alisson Becker despite doubts over Manuel Neuer's future at the club. I would guarantee that if Alisson Becker was available, Bayern Munich would be looking to buy him. I guarantee it. Reece James is thought to be exploring the possibility of joining Barcelona or Benfica. So this is from Football Transfers. It's either Steve Kay or it's Jack Talbot. Either way, it's spoofing. It is Steve Kay. It's an exclusive, and it's utter bullshit. Sunderland are working on a deal to re-sign Jordan Henderson in January. I think the Championship might even be a level above what he's capable of these days. Arsenal are confident William Saliba will remain at the Emirates despite interest from Real Madrid. I'm old enough to remember Manchester United being confident Cristiano Ronaldo would remain at Old Trafford despite interest from Real Madrid. I'm old enough to remember Juventus being confident Zinedine Zidane would stay at the Stadio del Alpi despite interest from Real Madrid. I'm old enough to remember many things that have happened where Real Madrid have shown interest. Players have, said, "Oh, I'm happy here," and then ended up playing for Real Madrid. Juventus could move for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Why? Why would they do that? Manchester United have approached Sebastian Hoeneß they did approach Sebastian Hoeneß to replace Eric Ten Hag, but he turned them down. He also turned down Bayern, so that's fine. Manchester United are still in talks, are still in with a chance of recruiting Thomas Tuchel. I don't believe they are. Ederson says he had an offer to leave City. He's been talking with it for months, so we know this. Arsenal forward Nathan Butler Oyedeji. I think it's Oyedeji. My pronunciation of Nigerian names is not strong. Nathan Butler Oyedeji is what I'm going with. Is being tracked by Borussia Mönchengladbach. Okay. German centre-back Marvin Friedrich could leave Borussia Mönchengladbach in January. Yeah, but probably about time. Arsenal have joined Tottenham in the race to sign Georgi Sudikev. Don't really see where he fits for either team, to be honest. Talented player. I don't think he's an attacking midfielder either. Not long term. Barcelona, Arsenal, and Newcastle are interested in signing Leroy Sané from Bayern Munich. That's from Ekrem Kola, who's not actually a real person. So yeah, I wouldn't believe anything that Ekrem Kola has to report. Although if it is something that I want to hear, I will of course deem him a tier 1 source and tell you all to listen. But yeah, it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Right, folks, that's me for today. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.